Minecraft is a great game, but there will always be disputes about which edition of the game is the best. Between Java Edition, Bedrock Edition, and Legacy Edition, which is the footage that you see now, there are different things such as the shovel technique that make the games completely separate from one another. For example, Legacy Edition has the ability to exit without save, which makes it revolutionary, but Bedrock Edition, it's the new version on the Xbox One, and it has some problems. Today we're going to be going over what problems there are, and whether or not Legacy Edition was actually better than the new edition of Minecraft. The first major difference we can determine is the initial startup of both games. I put them side by side, but they were both launched on the same console. Minecraft Legacy Edition is on the left side, and Minecraft Bedrock Edition is on the right side. Immediately we can already see that Minecraft Legacy Edition is much faster than Bedrock Edition. I am going to be giving these games point ratings based on how good they turn out during each test. Whichever one with the most points wins. And already we can see that Minecraft Xbox One Edition has already won at a minimum of 27 seconds, while Minecraft Bedrock Edition is still loading. So I have sped up the footage by 4 times, and it's still very slow. But Minecraft Bedrock Edition took 2 minutes and 50 seconds to start up entirely. This is because there are a larger amount of features in Bedrock Edition that make the game, well, more fun. But then again, it does limit the amount of things that you're able to do, and also creates a bunch of lag, which is not usually wanted. But anyways, let's move on to the next challenge, and that is building a wall. For this next test, I will be building a wall, but I'm going to be doing it in both editions, and I'm going to be trying my hardest to build the wall as greatly as possible to not make one edition of the game look less than the other. Plus, I will include the original audio so you can hear how tryhard I am. As you can see, I won in Legacy Edition, but the reason that was because I cannot build downwards in Bedrock Edition. In Legacy Edition, I can build downwards, which can speed up the process of building a wall straight up and down by quite a lot. As you can see, I'm still going in Bedrock Edition as I'm speaking. But there are building inconsistencies that prevent it from happening in Bedrock, which brings me to my new topic, building inconsistencies and strafing. This next test is to demonstrate how strafing is a bad thing. If I were to look up and then at the farthest to the right pillar, that is going to make my camera go at an angle. The goal is to build a straight line, and in Legacy Edition I am doing it regardless of my camera angle, but in Bedrock Edition I want to go in that direction that my camera angle is facing. Also, I want to mention that I stopped building in Bedrock Edition even though I hadn't even let go of the trigger. That is because there are building inconsistencies in Bedrock Edition that I can't explain them. It just prevents you from building for a few seconds, and then it doesn't start back up again. It's kind of crazy stupid. This is very important to me, and the reason that I choose Legacy Edition is because when you move around, you move in an octagonal pattern when you fly, allowing you to build horizontal or vertical lines perfectly without any interruption. Here's how it works. This is the player. That box is the player. Let's say it needs to go to a destination that is straight ahead of it. But there's a 45-degree angle, and this is a 22.5-degree angle. Let's say that the player is looking at less than 22.5 of an angle. Now in Bedrock Edition, if you were to fly in the direction the player is looking, you will go exactly in that direction. But in Legacy Edition, you will fly in the straight line in the nearest eighth as long as you are less than 22.5 degrees. For the next test, I will be flying up. Seems pretty simple, right? All you need to do is aim your camera upwards, sprint fly, and just hold A. Now, these pillars are the exact same pillar, I want to point out. as you can see, I clearly win in Legacy Edition, like always. But in Bedrock Edition, I'm not even halfway there yet. The point is, in Legacy Edition, you can sprint fly in the direction you're looking at, regardless of whether you're looking up or down. You will head in that direction, while in Bedrock Edition, the only way you can travel up and down is to hold A or press in the right joystick. Flying straight in this edition is great, but if I were to look down, notice how I do not fly down. When I look up, notice how I do not fly up. But in order to fly down, I have to shift, and in order to fly up, I need to press A. For the next test, we're just going to be seeing how fast you can fly. The first person to the end of this park that I built wins. Now, I just have to line up my camera and then fly. Legacy Edition beat Bedrock Edition by 1.5 seconds. Now surely there's got to be a faster way to get around. See this road here? This road was a highway I constructed and never finished, but I am going to be traveling that entire road. It's a full circuit back to where I'm standing right now, and it is going to be the next test to see which elytra in which game is actually faster. Please note that both of these clips are sped up, and they are both sped up to the same speed. And just like that, Legacy Edition won another competition. But I would like to point out why Bedrock Edition lost. It's because when you hold A while using elytra, in Legacy Edition your velocity remains constant, while in Bedrock you fly up and you lose velocity instead. I would also like to point out the chunk loading effect for both games. On Legacy Edition, you may notice how chunks don't have a loading effect and immediately just pop onto screen, preventing lag. While in Bedrock Edition, you can see that there is a fade-in effect for each of the separate chunks when flying, which creates, sort of a problem when, trying to keep the game functional. Because while it is interesting enough, the chances of a player actually seeing it and recognizing it as something interesting is extremely low because it's not interesting, and it actually takes up more space and makes the game laggier. So it's just another useless feature. But back to what I was saying earlier about elytra in Bedrock Edition and holding A. When you hold A, you fly up. Well, it may make you lose velocity, but it is a convenient way to go up extremely fast, because in Legacy Edition, when compared to the new edition, the first person to get to the Y level 511 is Bedrock Edition. But there are even little things that can be bothersome at times, such as the fact that while flying in Bedrock Edition, if you are standing in flowing water, it will push you, which is extremely stupid. But in Legacy Edition, flowing water will not push you, which is good for building in flowing water, which will probably never happen. Also, fill commands are great. Wait a minute, did you say fill commands? Yup, that's right. One single fill command can destroy an entire neighborhood. And even though the explosion happened at the center of the world, there is damage as far as nearly 300 blocks away, which is kind of crazy. Some of these houses are destroyed beyond repair, so yeah. And not only that, but do you see an exit without saving sign? Yeah, that's what I thought. Oops. Well, looks like I can exit without saving and then get everything that was destroyed back again. Wow. So in conclusion, play Java Edition.